The story of Dragon Age Origins is the story of the rise of the hero of Ferelden and the decisions he or she makes as the newest recruit of the ancient order of the Grey Wardens. Rumors abound about this individual all across Thedas, and no one can seem to agree on exactly who this person was or what specific skills they excelled at. Even the crucial decisions that determined whether they were a savior or an opportunist are still debated among the citizens. So what is the truth? Well, the truth can be hard to suss out with so many voices offering different opinions. What we do know is that they came from somewhere, that they have an origin story. In this second part of the full story of Dragon Age Origins, we'll be exploring a possible origin story for this fabled hero. That they were of noble birth and through circumstances, inside or outside of their control, were conscripted into the Grey Wardens. Dragon Age Origins is also a game of many choices, and although we will explore some in the origins stories of this and future parts, the outcome will inevitably be the same. Last time, we explored the origin story of the human noble Alyssa Cousland. Now, we head underground to the dwarven city of Orzammar, to a young noble named Durin Iduken.
Deep beneath the Frostback Mountains sits Orzammar, the larger of two known remaining dwarven cities in the world. Orzammar was once the seat of a major empire connected by tunnels called Deep Roads, which stretched thousands of miles. The city now stands alone, cut off from the rest of the dwarven ancestral lands by the Darkspawn incursion. Secure in Orzammar's impregnable construction, the dwarven noble houses continue their centuries-old power struggles. Assassination and blackmail are commonplace, but the appearance of honor is paramount. You are the second child of King Endrin of House Iduken, the 9th Iduken ruler elected by the Noble Assembly. You grew up in a world rife with political intrigue, and have struggled against brothers and cousins for honor and prestige. Today, a feast celebrates your first military commission, the opening move towards real power in the ever-changing game of dwarven politics.
Greetings, my lord. You are dressed and ready. Excellent. I couldn't find the armor's matching dagger, but I scrounged up a rather fancy longsword. Do you wish to wear your shield to the noble's feast?
Yes. Let them see me as a warrior.
Of course, if every other noble has a shield and 3 swords, you'll feel awfully underdressed.
You forget your place. I am not to be mocked.
I'm sorry, my lord. The festivities put me in an odd mood.
That's no reason to forget your rank.
No, of course not. Moving on to the business at hand. The king expects you to make an appearance at the feast, but there's no rush. The noble family heads will spend hours boring your father with petitions and petty grievances.
The art of ruling is hardly boring.
If you say so. Listening to 100 lords complain that their neighbors use the same underhanded tactics they themselves employ would tire on me after about, a minute. Still, there are other excitements. As part of the celebrations, permits have been auctioned off to members of the merchant caste who wish to sell wares in the Diamond Quarter. Lord Harrowmont has also opened up the provings for young warriors to test their mettle before tomorrow's battle. Perhaps we should go show them what single combat is really all about. And by we, I mean you. I'll practice my cheering.
Why don't you want to fight in the provings, Gorham?
You remember last year's open proving? It took your father's smith 6 hours to remove my helmet. I'm not meant for single combat. I fight as my lord's second in shield. That's enough for me.
The provings sound appealing. Let's go have a look.
Right behind you, my lord. The day is ours until the feast.
We are Durin Iduken, second son of the king Endrin Iduken, and we are very, very proud of that fact. We are beloved by the people, strong in our bloodline and rank, and now we have earned a commission and will be recognized as the leader we are. Before all the formalities that will be afforded to us, we can head off to the provings to see warriors fight in our honor and visit some of the merchant stalls. There are a few things to look at in our room first, including a handful of codex pages, a chest, and a vanity with loot inside. Reading the the first codex page titled Orzammar Politics, as dangerous as it is to mistake a dwarf's caste, it is far more deadly to mistake his alliances among the noble houses of Orzammar. Everyone in the city is allied with someone, whether by blood or by word. The nobles do not engage directly in commerce themselves, as that is the domain of the merchant caste, but they do serve as patrons. They invest in shops or in artisans' work, and, in turn, reap a share of the profits as well as a measure of the credit. Merchants and warriors alike benefit from the service of a prestigious patron. The relative power of each house is ever-changing. It is usually safe to assume that whichever noble house holds the throne is at the top of the heap, but below that things grow into a tangled mess. Houses ally with one another by marriage. They earn rank and prestige when combatants loyal to them or from their own bloodlines win provings. They earn it when artisans they patronize become sought after or well regarded, or when the merchants they invest in become successful. The degrees of power that these achievements confer is so murky, even to the dwarves, that it isn't unusual for nobles to challenge each other to provings over whose smith forges better belt buckles or whose servants have the best manners. Nor is it out of the ordinary to find two merchants arguing over whose noble patron has won the most acclaim, for the rank of the patron is the rank of the client. Nowhere is this more apparent than in the assembly, where the deshers, representatives of each noble house, meet. Although the king technically rules Orzammar, kings are elected by the assembly, and so each king must work constantly to maintain the support of the deshers. Kings who prove unpopular find their heirs deemed unacceptable to inherit the throne. Power then passes to another house. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Next is Dwarven Faith. We are the children of the stone. She supports us, shelters us, offers us the most priceless gifts of the earth. The worthy return to her embrace in death, becoming ancestors. The unworthy are cast out, unable to rest, that their failings may not weaken the stone. So it has been since the earliest memories. We live by the stone, guided by the ancestors who speak with the voice of the provings, and whose memories the Shaperit keeps forever in lyrium. We do not accept the empty promises of heaven as the wild elves do, or vie for the favor of absent gods. Instead, we follow in the footsteps of our paragons, the greatest of our ancestors, warriors, craftsmen, leaders, the greatest examples of lives spent in service to our fellow dwarves. Our paragons joined with the stone in life and now stand watch at our gate, ushering in those surfacers privileged to visit our city. We know there is no greater honor to hope for, no better reward for an exceptional life, as told by Shaper Sabor. After, we can read about our father, King Endrin Iduken. Denial of the traditions of our people does not qualify as a political technicality. Endrin of House Iduken traces his ancestry back to the Paragon Iduken, the greatest warrior of Orzammar's history, who beat back the Darkspawn hordes in the First Blight. The second son of King Ansgar Iduken, he became heir after his elder brother died in a proving. The most respected king in 4 generations, he restored contact with Kal Sharok, the only other remaining city of the once vast Dwarven Empire, which had been lost during the First Blight. After a bit of light reading, we can head out into the palace halls. Most of the doors are locked, save for the throne room where the feast is being held, but we'll come back here after mingling with the people for a bit. Heading towards the main doors of the palace, a female dwarf steps out of our brother Balin's room.
Balin? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
But quickly retreats back inside when she sees us. Following her into the room, we can find 2 new codex pages, a locked chest, and an armoire with loot inside. Speaking to the woman,
I'm sorry. I thought you were Prince Balin coming down the hall. Forgive me.
Gorham, tell her that my brother is at the feast.
Prince Balin is attending the feast being held in Lord Iduken's honor.
Yes, of course. It was presumptuous of me to think that he would return to... I am sorry. I will show myself out, with your leave, my lord.
Gorham, tell her she may take her leave of me.
Go.
Thank you. I will go now.
Durin prefers to have his right-hand man do the talking. Taking a look at the codex pages we collected, we can read the first one all about our family line, House Iduken, Shield of Orzammar. The Assembly has never named a paragon with so little disagreement as there was for Paragon Iduken. No naysayers, only a single abstention. His worthiness was unquestionable, his favor with the ancestors clear. But family rumor says that the man himself was deeply troubled, prone to fits of melancholy and self-doubt, never satisfied with his great achievement in protecting Orzammar. He died cursing that he had not managed to save the outlying Taigs. Before he rose to Paragon, he was of little note. The memories tell us that he never entered a single proving, never sought to elevate his place among the warrior caste. He spent most of his years prior to the First Blight fighting skirmishes in the deep roads, keeping them free from surface bandits, content to live quietly with his wife and daughters. When the Blight began, it caught Orzammar in the midst of a vicious inter-house war. Most of the warrior caste was caught up in the feuding, for as word of attacks poured in, each great house demanded that the army be sent to defend their Taig, and no house would agree to sacrifice their own holdings for the safety of any others. The Assembly was so utterly tied up with the infighting that the Darkspawn spread, unchecked, to the gates of Orzammar herself. In the chaos, Iduken grudgingly took command of the armies. He enlisted the aid of the mining caste to collapse overrun passages, called upon the smith caste to supply them with arms, and bypassed the Assembly and the nobles entirely. With his leadership, Orzammar was saved from annihilation. For his insubordination, he was made Paragon. Yet, he always considered it a defeat. From A History of Iduken, Paragon King Peacemaker by scholar Gertek. Then we can read a letter from Rika. We didn't ask her name, but we can assume this is from Balin's mistress. My dearest Prince Balin, you are too kind to me. I am a small and insignificant thing, and I do not deserve your attention, but your willingness to tolerate my presence shows you to be a prince among men. I cannot thank you enough for the beautiful necklace you presented to me. I will cherish it always, and I promise I will wear it at our next meeting. I know my gratitude means nothing to you, but I must say again, thank you. I will always be your humble and devoted servant. Yours truly, R. Nothing left to do now but go out into the Diamond Quarter. We receive a new codex page, and Gorham has some info for us about the merchants.
Your father has allowed the merchants to show their wares in the Diamond Quarter during these celebrations.
Upon exiting, we can see two men having an argument.
Sure, we can work this out reasonably. It's in the records. There's nothing I can do.
And we can, of course, interject.
Please, Master Volney. My work is accredited by the Shaper.
These books are lies written by the enemies of House Volney.
I write only what I find in the ancient records. Lord Iduken, you can vouch for my work, can't you? Your father loved my History of Iduken, Paragon King, Peacemaker.
Gorham, does this scholar truly have my father's favor?
The king, as well as several other lords, are quite fond of his work. He writes of the ancient paragons.
This worm has written a book that slanders my house.
What does it say?
It doesn't matter, it's all lies.
What exactly has he written, Brunton?
He says that Volney, the paragon who founded my house, known throughout the world as the greatest of men, was a fraud.
Not precisely. When the Assembly names a paragon, that man or woman is then, by definition, everything one can aspire to be in the world. They form their own noble houses and are revered as living ancestors. But paragons start off as men.
Volney was more than a man.
Gorham, does any of this make sense to you?
If I remember my lessons, Volney was a controversial choice as paragon.
It's so good to see some reverence for history among the young generation. Volney became a paragon by the narrowest margin in history. One vote. A vote mired in rumors of intimidation, intrigue, and outright bribery. The records of that vote are kept in the Shapers and are a matter of fact. Not liking history doesn't make it any less true.
The scholar is right.
You're taking his side? What if he published a book like this about your paragon Iduken?
The truth is more important than your pride.
You would not say so if it was your house, but I shall respect your wishes. For now, excuse me, Your Highness.
That fool has no idea how weak his house is or how low he sits in it. Shall I have him killed, my lord?
What do you think, scholar?
Well, historically, it has been prudent to eliminate a small threat before it becomes larger.
Hear that, Gorham? Do the prudent thing.
How do you want it done?
Publicly. Make sure everyone knows why.
Understood.
You've shown yourself more daring and aggressive today than most believed of you. Someday I hope to write of the great exploits you are sure to perform.
Word has been sent. He won't live past the hour.
You've shown House Iduken a friend to research, history, and the glory of our people.
You'll remember this when you write of me.
Of course. Heroism and pity for the small man have always been hallmarks of House Iduken. Now, I must try to make sense of these notes. Good day, Your Highness, and thank you.
Durin has shown that he knows how to play the game of the Dwarven nobles. Continuing on, we can speak to a silk merchant.
My Lord Iduken, you honor me by visiting my humble booth. May I show you my wares?
Gorham, why is this man speaking to me?
Because he has forgotten his place.
1,000 pardons. Please, forgive me, Your Highness.
This looks to be mostly fabrics from the human lands. These merchants form alliances with those who have abandoned our ways to live on the surface.
How many of our people are on the surface?
According to the scholars, more than 500. Does it matter? The surfacers are lost to us. Perhaps we should get going.
Turning away from the stone, why would I purchase goods from a merchant who associates with those types? Moving on, we are stopped by our brothers Trian and Balin.
Akrastvala, big brother. How surprising to run into you out among the common folk.
Especially since duty requires that you attend our King Father at the feast today. Have you so little respect for him to disregard his wishes on a day set aside for you?
Lord Harrowmont told me we wouldn't be needed for hours at least.
Silence! If I want the opinion of my siblings second, I will ask for it.
Yes, Your Highness.
I go where I want, when I want, Trian.
Your lack of a sense of duty to your house is obvious. I can't imagine why you're receiving a commission. I expect after tomorrow I'll spend much time apologizing to the heads of the noble houses for the deaths of their children under your incompetent command.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it, Trian?
As heir to the throne, it is my duty to impart wisdom and judgment upon those who need it. Now then, you, get to the feast.
I'll go when I'm ready.
Stubborn, aren't you? When I'm king, I will help you get over that. Come, Balin.
Ignore him. It's my day, not his.
Of course, my lord.
Let's not think about the misguided power our brother Trian thinks he has, or the spinelessness of our younger brother Balin. We have a proving to get to. Continuing on, we can speak with an armor merchant.
My Lord Iduken, nothing here rivals your amazing Iduken armor, but if you wish something made...
You know very well House Iduken has its own royal armorers.
Of course. Forgive me.
Let's leave, Gorham.
As you say.
How dare he think his armor could rival that of the royal armorers? Fool. Moving on, we see two female dwarfs.
What have we here? Two handsome, strapping, noble lords. You both look so grand.
And isn't this the man of the hour, the king's son?
Who's your friend, my lord? Another noble from the honored House Iduken?
This is Sir Gorham of the warrior caste.
Oh, then not a noble?
No, Telly, not a noble. Stone you're thick sometimes.
Why do you care if Gorham is noble?
They're noble hunters, my lord. A man takes his caste from his father, and these women hope to bear a noble lord's son. If one is successful, she's raised up to concubine in the noble house to care for her child. It provides new sword arms for the house, and many nobles look favorably on such women.
Now here we can certainly refuse the offer these women are posing, but for reasons that will be clear much later in the story, Durin is going to say yes. Sounds like a good deal to me.
Shall I come to your chambers after the ceremony, then?
I talked to him first. I want him.
He's looking for a woman, Telly, not a little girl. I'm Marty, and I know how to give my lord a night he'll remember.
Then let's get to it.
No fear, Telly. Many nobles will fancy a younger girl. I will see you when the ceremony ends, my lord.
Well, this will be something to look forward to, but first, we have a weapons merchant still to visit.
Greetings, my lord Iduken. I am so honored to have you visit my booth. I have a proposition, but I dared not approach.
Yet you dare now.
Gorham, try to be more friendly.
Very well then, speak.
Yes, just so. Here's the thing. What I mean to say is...
Spit it out.
Sorry. So nervous. I had a dagger made for you as a gift for your first command. Sent a messenger to deliver the dagger to you. Prince Trian had him thrown out. I don't know what offense he caused, but I had him beaten severely.
Let me see this dagger.
Here it is, Your Highness.
That's an amazing piece, merchant.
You do me much honor, sir. The blade has been crafted over a period of 2 years by masters of every art. I wish to bless the Lord's first command, and hope that someday, when he rules, he will wear it.
Trian is heir. He will rule when King Endrin returns to the stone.
If the Assembly wills it. Forgive me, sir, but whispers say the second child of Endrin will be chosen.
Whispers indeed. It's a princely gift. If Trian recognizes it, though, it may send the wrong message. Or the right one, depending on your view.
Damn what Trian thinks. I'll take it.
Thank you. You bring uncountable honor to me.
What he means is that you'll bring uncountable gold to him if you wear that piece in public.
I could be declared king over Trian. This day keeps getting better and better. Looking at the dagger, it's not really anything special, but it does do electricity damage, which makes it fairly unique. The final merchant we can speak to before attending the provings is a magic merchant, but he doesn't have much to say.
Lord Iduken, here, in my booth? I am so...
He's fainted. You make quite the impression these days. Pardon, I was out of line there. I suppose we should move on.
Approaching the guard in front of the doors to the proving grounds.
My lord, are you heading to the proving arena?
Gorham, I do not remember addressing this man.
You are not to address the Lord Iduken unless spoken to first.
Forgive me, Sir Gorham. I meant no offense.
Back to your duties.
But sir, this is my duty. I am to escort our new commander to the proving grounds.
I clean forgot about that. Forgive me, I should have informed you sooner. The king decided you were not to travel through the commons unguarded.
Very well, if it will please my father.
Will we be leaving then?
Yes.
We are at your command.
And inside we go. Once there, we receive a new codex page and we can take the time to read it and the one we received upon exiting the palace. The first is Life in Orzammar. The dwarves of Orzammar are quite unlike those found in most human cities. Although Orzammar derives its vast wealth from trade with human kingdoms, all dwarves who come to the surface to trade are stripped of their position in society. Dwarven merchants are so ubiquitous in human cities that many people labor under the impression that all dwarves are merchants, or that their whole race worships coin and trade. But these surface dwarves are atypical creatures, the ones willing to give up all ties to their kin and sacrifice their rank in order to conduct business. Below ground, the dwarves are a people obsessed with honor, their own and that of their family. Most nobles incorporate chainmail even into formal gowns, because slights and insults often turn deadly. They are a people who revere excellence and strive to achieve it in all things. Even members of the servant caste have been elevated to paragons, usually posthumously, in recognition of remarkable service. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genitivi. The other is about the proving, Valos Atreidum. In the 23rd year of the reign of King Ragnan Iduken, an old man of the servant caste was accused of stealing a sapphire ring from his employer, Lord Dace. The servant was stripped of his position, he and his family thrown to the streets, and soon after the servant died. The son of the disgraced servant challenged Lord Dace to a proving, declaring that his father had been the victim of a cruel injustice and the ancestors would bear him witness. Lord Dace had no choice but to accept. On the sacred stone of the proving ground, the nobleman faced the servant boy. Lord Dace carried a sword crafted for his own hand and was clad in his great-grandfather's armor. The servant boy had neither armor nor weapon. When the battle began, the boy fought like a whole pack of angry deepstalkers, flinging himself upon the startled lord, wrenching the sword from his hand and prying at his armor with bare fingers. The boy knocked Lord Dace to the ground and beat him until the lord begged for mercy. The boy and his family were reinstated to their place in the Dace household, and the virtue of the boy's father was not questioned again. The ancestors had spoken, and no one would question their word, as told by Shaper Fortog. After reading, we can take a moment to speak to our second Gorham.
My lord.
Tell me about your family, Gorham.
Not much that you don't already know. My father's father was a great hero of the Deep Roads excursions and raised the family to the top of the warrior caste. He was even nominated to join the assembly and found a noble house, but the honor was in the nomination. He wasn't afforded a single vote. My father served your father for many years, and now I serve you.
Are you excited about the battle tomorrow?
Yes, I yearn to face the Darkspawn and prove my worth as your second.
Remember, it is my glory we go to win.
Of course, I am here to serve.
We should get going.
As you will.
Now we can speak with the Proving Master.
Your Highness, it is an honor to have you here. Have you come to watch these brave warriors do battle in your honor?
Now here we can decide to watch or participate. Wouldn't miss it.
Your presence encourages the fighters to greater feats.
I'll go take my place then.
I'll call the first fighters in a moment.
But Durin isn't here to spectate, so reloading and speaking with the Proving Master again. No, I've come to fight.
Your Highness, this proving is in your honor.
Then honor him by doing as he says. My Lord Idukan will fight in this proving.
All will see my glory.
Of course, it is well within your rights. Men and women of Orzammar, we have a late entry to these provings, held on the eve of battle for the honor of House Idukan. I give you the Lord Idukan himself. Are you ready for your first match?
Ready, eager, hungry.
Then let us begin! This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Idukan. Lord Idukan will fight Tailor, youngest son of Lord Bimo.
You honor me with this match.
Be on your guard.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight!
We will fight a series of 4 matches, none of which pose much issue for the warrior Prince Durin.
The winner is Lord Idukan. That was quite a fight. Tailor Bimo is no slouch with that hammer. Are you ready for your next opponent?
Who is my next opponent?
Adal Helmi, a woman, Your Highness. She's a tenacious fighter.
You let a woman fight in the proving in my honor?
It was not my idea. Lady Helmi was most insistent. I did not expect her to actually win her first match. Will you fight her?
Why not? Should be easy.
Excellent. Let us go. This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Idukan. Lord Idukan will fight Adal Helmi, eldest daughter of Lady Helmi.
Honor and glory to your house, Your Highness.
There is no honor in fighting a woman.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight! The winner is Lord Idukan. That was a crowd pleaser. Many were waiting to see that woman put in her place. Sir Blackstone is your next opponent. Are you ready to face him?
What can you tell me about Sir Blackstone?
One of the best of the warrior caste. He achieved glory in close combat assault in the deep roads.
I'm ready to fight.
Then let us begin! This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Idukan. Lord Idukan will fight Sir Blackstone, deep road squad leader of the warrior caste.
This is your education, child. Try to learn as you bleed.
I'll make you eat those words.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. Fight! Excellent. The winner is Lord Idukan. Well done. You have proven that even the best of the warrior caste cannot match a noble Idukan. Frandland Ivo is your final opponent. He too has had many victories today. Are you ready to face him, or will you rest first?
What can you tell me about Frandland Ivo?
He is a decorated fighter who prefers unusual weapons and rarely fights with the same techniques twice.
House Ivo is relatively inconsequential, but Frandland may change that. He's expected to take a full command of his own soon.
Lesser house, lesser man. I'll fight him now.
Very good. This is a glory proving, fought under the watchful eyes of the paragons of Orzammar, for the honor of House Iduken. It is down to just 2 warriors, with backbones of stone and wills of iron. They have defeated all others this day. Lord Iduken will fight Brandman Ivo, second son of Lord Ivo.
You fight well. I wish you glory today and glory tomorrow.
May you be a stone.
First warrior to fall is vanquished. The victor is champion. Fight! The winner is Lord Iduken. Congratulations. Brandman Ivo is as fierce a competitor as I've ever seen. You vanquished every warrior of note in today's proving. The ceremonial helm, commissioned by your father for today's winner, is yours.
I'll wear it proudly.
Your glory honors every warrior here.
Taking a look at the helm, we see it offers 1 extra willpower and constitution to the wearer. Not too shabby. Having shown our face enough in public for 1 day, it's time to head back palace and join the feast already in progress. Upon entering the throne room, Gorham points out the unusual guests in attendance.
Look, the Grey Wardens are here. The raid tomorrow must be more than a standard mission. The Wardens only go where the Darkspawn are the greatest threat.
Before we can talk to the Grey Wardens, a noble requests our attention.
My lord Iduken, might I bother you for a moment? Many thanks for your willingness to hear me out, my lord. I wish to speak to you of a matter most urgent.
Gorham, how much time do I have?
It looks as if the heads of House Bimo and Mino are keeping your father busy, which leaves you plenty of time for our dear old friend, Lord Dace.
You're a credit to your caste, Sir Gorham. I've always said so. If I had a daughter, I'd give her to you and make you the noble you deserve to be.
You honor me, my lord.
My ears are yours, Lord Dace.
First, let me congratulate you on your commission. 2 of King Endrin's children now commissioned war leaders. It does great honor to your house.
Thank you, Lord Dace.
Of course, I didn't stop you just to express my loyal affections. There is a vote coming before the Assembly next week. And a word from you could go a long way towards helping our cause.
What cause?
The vote concerns the status of the so-called surface caste. Lost to the stone, air-touched, and so forth. Centuries ago, narrow-minded men declared that any dwarf who left to live on the surface forfeited his caste, and his house if noble. That he was, in essence, no longer a dwarf. I seek only to remedy an injustice, to retie the bonds of anyone who can trace himself to one of the noble houses wherever he may live. Please, agree to speak for this noble cause.
Why so interested in this particular cause?
Those on the surface are our lifeline. They facilitate trade with the surface. They're honorable and, well, let's be honest. I don't care a whit for those who have wandered from the stone. My wife, however, is a gem of a different color. She has a cousin, a useless sort, but she's quite fond of him. He joined a speculative venture to the surface, hoping to make his fortune, and went bust. Now he wishes to come home, but he cannot, for he has no house and would be casteless. For my wife's sake, I take up his cause. Will you lend me your voice?
Durin has no love for the surface dwarfs, but if the bargain is right, perhaps we could lend our voice to the cause. What do I get in return?
I keep my ears to the stone, my lord. I hear many things, some of which could be a great help during your mission tomorrow. A little forewarning to help your forearming, if you know what I mean.
Better than nothing, I suppose. You have a deal. What do I do now?
When your father presents you to the noble houses, I will ask for your opinion on the matter. You have merely to say that you feel our surface brothers should be returned their noble rights. What could be more simple?
Upon striking this deal, we get a new codex page about the castes. Visitors to Orzammar should keep in mind that the hierarchies of Dwarven society are much more complex than our own. It is easy to gravely insult a man simply by mistaking his position. Since this can lead to unnecessary loss of life and limbs, I will attempt to mitigate the danger for my fellow travelers. The society of Orzammar is divided into nobles, warriors, smiths, artisans, miners, merchants, and servants. Now you are undoubtedly saying to yourself, we have all those divisions among our own people. This is a dangerous misconception. Certainly we do have nobility, artisans, merchants, and these positions are largely inherited from our parents. However, the younger children of noblemen often choose to be artisans or soldiers. The sons of merchants may join the army, or become servants, or apprentice themselves to a craftsman. This is all freely chosen, limited perhaps by the circumstances of birth, but still chosen. What is a matter of choice for most human folk is dictated entirely by birth for dwarves. No one may become a smith who was not born to smith caste parents. A servant who marries a noblewoman will never be a noble himself, and although his daughters would be nobles, his sons would be servants. For daughters inherit the caste of their mother, while sons inherit the caste of their father. From In Pursuit of Knowledge, The Travels of a Chantry Scholar by Brother Genetivi. Moving along, we can now speak to the Grey Wardens.
You're a fool.
Greetings, my lord Idukan. It is an honor to meet you at last.
The honor is mine, Warden.
I have had the opportunity to recently meet with your father. He speaks highly of you. He says you may be the most skilled warrior in all of House Idukan.
My father does me great honor.
I have no doubt it is deserved. We need more Grey Wardens like you, and quickly. Even as the Darkspawn weaken here in Orzammar, they are stirring on the surface. A blight has begun. Soon the fight must go beyond the deep roads, lest the Darkspawn threaten all the world.
I do not know as much as I should about the Grey Wardens.
You know of our dedication to destroying the Darkspawn, our frontline presence during a blight. What else would you know?
Are there many of my people in the Grey Wardens?
Over the centuries, many dwarves have made names for themselves in our order. These days, however, there are fewer dwarves and thus even fewer dwarven Grey Wardens. A pity, since dwarven warriors have the most experience fighting Darkspawn.
I am an Idukan. Orzammar needs me here.
Then it is a good thing that you have other paths before you. Some are not so lucky. I wish you luck in the deep roads tomorrow. Show the Darkspawn the might of your people.
We get 3 new codex pages here, which I already read in part 1. Another noble seems to be waiting to speak with us, approaching her.
Your mother would melt the stone if she knew what you just did.
How dare you speak to me that way?
Show you are to be respected, and I will no longer speak to you as a child. Lord Dace is playing you false. Go ahead, be his puppet. Your first command will be marked by every major house turning their back on you.
If you have something to say, do so.
If you are to play in the games of the Assembly, make sure you know the motivations of the players. Last spring, a guild from the Merchant caste invested heavily in an expedition with a guild from the surface. Lord Dace backed the Merchant Guild, pouring a great deal of money into the venture. The expedition was a disaster.
So this is Lord Dace's play to recover his losses?
Clever child. Lord Dace lost a great deal of money and prestige. The Surface Guild has no way to repay the investment, but it does have several leading members who are descended from noble houses. House Helmi, Bimo, Idukan.
The surface dwellers return to their noble houses.
You begin to see the whole picture. Your house and mine would be forced to pay the surfacers' kin debts. It would be a great victory for Lord Dace.
It seems I need to have a talk with Lord Dace.
If you call his bluff, then you lose your chance to turn the tables. Let him think he has you. Smile and nod, and when he asks his question, tell him that the so-called surface caste are right where they belong. That should take Lord Dace down a peg or two.
I'll think about it.
Good. Your house's reputation hangs in the balance.
Both Lady Helmi and Lord Dace have things to gain or lose by the outcome of this favor. Durin has watched the other nobles play the games of Assembly as long as he can remember, and he's made his decision. But first, let's talk to our father.
My king, please reconsider. Trade contracts alone could bring great prosperity to our houses.
Will we really turn our back on our brothers and a potential fortune in cheap labor because of a political technicality?
Denial of the traditions of our people does not qualify as a political technicality. There is more to life than monetary gains, my lords Bimo and Mino. The Assembly of Kal Sharok will respect the rule of Orzammar, or they will rot and die alone, surrounded by enemies.
Yes, my king.
But look, we have company to spare us further wrangling. Atrast Vala, my son. How fine you look in your great-grandfather's armor. I hear you were declared champion of the Provings. I suppose you were never one to sit by when something exciting was going on. Are you ready to be presented to the heads of the noble houses?
Of course, Father.
So dutiful. Very well, let us begin. Lords, ladies, grant me a moment of your time. We are here today so I may present to you my second eldest child, blessed by the stone and born of the blood that ran in the veins of the Paragon Aidukan. Who would pose a question to the prospective commander? Who seeks to know the prospect better?
I have a question. I seek to know the prospect better.
Lord Dace, head of House Dace, speak.
Lords, ladies, my question concerns the plight of our wayward kin, the so-called Service Caste. What does the Commander Prospect think is the proper place for these lost souls?
We can agree to the deal we made with Lord Dace here. They are as we are and should have their rights returned.
Thank you, my lord. I am satisfied.
But Durin has a different way of thinking, so reloading. The surface dwellers are less than men.
Are you satisfied, Lord Dace? Do you feel you have learned something about the prospect?
Yes, my king.
Then if there are no other challenges, I give you Orzammar's next commander. Tomorrow, our newest commander will lead part of a mission to strike a great blow to the Darkspawn. Not only does this recover access to some of our most important mines, but it also allows our honored guest Duncan, head of Ferelden's Grey Wardens, to strike far into the deep roads.
Thank you, King Endrin. While the Darkspawn seem to withdraw, it is only because they are massing on the surface. This could mean a blight, and my men and I will discover the truth.
We are honored to have you with us, my friend. Now, feast, drink, and celebrate, for the morning brings battle! As for you, my new commander, find your brother Trian and send him to me. He may be watching the Provings, or getting some rest in his rooms.
Of course, Father.
Walk well, Commander.
We get another Codex page on Darkspawn that we read in Part 1. We can speak with Gorham here once again.
What did you think of the Grey Warden?
I liked him, for a human.
My thoughts exactly. Was there something else?
We should get going.
As you will.
We can also speak with Lord Dace again.
I suppose you're proud of yourself.
You underestimated me.
That is the way the games of the Assembly are played. Next time, I will think more of you. If you'll excuse me, my lord.
Dace was a fool and was made to look like one in front of the nobles. Good. Now it's time to head to see our brother. Heading to his room in the north of the hallway, we see Trian and Balin standing together. We can look at Trian's journal quickly before speaking to him. 21 for Ventus. Noticed Gorham running around trying to get pieces of my sibling's ceremonial armor ready for the feast. Stopped him and asked him how preparations were going. He mentioned that one of the bracers had a spot of tarnish on it. Was quite impressed at his dedication. He is most loyal to our family. 23rd for Ventus. Was on my way to discuss the treaty with Father when came across a messenger waiting in the hall. On being asked why he was loitering about the royal palace, he mumbled something about having a gift for the new commander, and asked me, begged almost, to pass along some object or other to my sibling. Me. The heir to the throne of Orzammar does not run errands for a messenger. Must have been new on the job. Had him thrown out. However, still reeling from the gall of it. Learned later that Balin had told Messenger that the quickest way to get things to our sibling was through me, and had made him wait until I came by. So unseemly for a Prince of Orzammar to play such tricks. He needs to grow up, and understand that as royalty, he has responsibilities. 24 for Ventus. Found Balin's little playmate, again, lurking about the corridors outside his bedroom this morning. Must have been trying to steal something or already had. Bosom seemed fuller than most decent ladies. Some jewels hidden in the bodice. Anyway, pretended not to see her. Would have been awkward otherwise. Wish Balin would keep her confined to his room if he must have her around. Little brother is too concerned with fun and pleasure and not serious enough about his duties as prince. Must talk to him about discipline when have time. Unfortunately, much too busy with the many tasks father has laid upon my shoulders. 26 for Ventus. Remember to send small token of gratitude to Jaelia Helmi. Alliance between Helmi and Iduken must be kept strong. Lady Jaelia will, of course, accept proposal of marriage since will be king sooner or later, but never hurts to be polite and keep the lady happy. Hear that there are some surfacers selling silks. Maybe we'll send second out for something nice. Jaelia's favorite color? Turquoise. 28 for Ventus. Heard about there being provings held in our siblings' honor. They did not have provings for me at my first commission, and I am the heir. What is going on? Must go watch these provings. Make presence felt. Orzammar must not forget that I am to be her next king. From the Journal of Trian Iduken. He's arrogant even in his private writings. Walking towards him.
So you're a commander now, in name at least. Shouldn't you be attending our king father?
Father wants to see you, Trian.
Of course he does. We must discuss strategy before tomorrow's battle. Balin, stay here and stroke the new commander's conceit if you like. But then get to bed.
All day I've put up with that. He can really grate on the nerves.
I agree.
And what I'm going to tell you next won't make you any more fond of him.
You sound serious, Balin.
Unfortunately, I am. Trian has begun to move against you. I never thought his much-proclaimed honor would allow him to actually act on his jealousy. Big brother, Trian is going to try to kill you.
He recognizes I'm a threat. Good.
He fears what you are becoming, in the eyes of the people and the Assembly. Trian's the named prince, but only the Assembly can proclaim a king. It would be unusual for the Assembly to ignore the king's choice, but it does happen. The first Iduken king wasn't even part of the house's leading family. That was an extraordinary case, but at least a half-dozen times the Assembly named a lesser family member, or even someone from another house, as king. Usually, it's the popular younger brother of an undesirable prince.
So Trian thinks the Assembly would prefer me?
Look at it from his perspective. You're more personable than he's ever been. You entered the provings held in your own honor just for glory and to please the crowds. If you win glory against the Darkspawn tomorrow, it will only strengthen the case for you as the next heir. Trian fears father will replace him on the spot. If not, the Assembly will surely turn against him when father dies. You know his pride will never allow him to step aside.
What's your angle in this?
It seems Trian has shown that brothers can't always be trusted. I am next in line. If Trian succeeds in his plot against you, how long do you think I'll live?
Gorham, what do you say?
Permission to speak freely?
I asked, didn't I?
Trian would make a terrible king, but no one wants to say it. He has just enough backing in the Assembly to make it ugly when your father dies, but not enough to become king. Killing him now makes your house stronger and saves a great deal of bloodshed later.
Very well. Trian dies.
I'm afraid I must agree with you. Tomorrow's battle is the time to do it. I'll find out the rendezvous and buy you the time to do what must be done. I'm taking your place as father's second, so I'll be at hand tomorrow. For now, try to get some sleep.
May the Paragon smile down on you.
It's important to note here that we can wholeheartedly disagree with Balin and refuse to raise arms against a brother. Unfortunately for us, the outcome will remain the same, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. We have a night with Marty ahead of us, and Darkspawn await us at dawn in the deep roads.
Trian and his men will clear the way for the Grey Wardens to descend into the easternmost caverns. Those caverns are still infested by the worst of the Darkspawn. We cannot risk our own troops in there.
Understood, Lord Haramond. We should be able to sense the Darkspawn and avoid them once the way is open.
May the Paragons favor you, and the stone catch you if you fall.
Come then! Glory awaits!
Balin, you and your men will second the king, clearing the main road.
Don't you think it looks a little cowardly to allow these humans to take our place where the fighting is thickest?
Are you questioning the battle plan?
Of course not. I'm sure your caution is for the glory of us all.
Enough, Balin! Take your men and make ready. Haramond and I need to have words with your sibling.
Good luck, my brother.
Your father has a special mission for you.
In the eastern deep roads, there is a secret door carved into the stone.
The door leads to a Taig, abandoned long ago by your ancestors. The Darkspawn have made it impossible to reach.
My father believed that the shield of the Paragon Idukan remains in that Taig, under the stones of the central room. Reclaim the shield, and glory will be yours.
The shield of Idukan would be quite the find.
We've sent 2 scouts ahead to make sure the tunnels are cleared. But be careful. One of the scouts will meet you at the first crossroads you come to. The second will be further in. When you get to the door, use your signet ring to open it. Questions?
Meet the scouts, find the door, grab the shield. Got it.
Very good. The crossroads where you meet the first scout will be the rendezvous point. There you can present the shield to the lords and demonstrate the strength of Idukan.
May the ancestors watch over you, my child.
Before we begin our search for the Shield of Idukan, we can read a codex page about the Deep Roads. There isn't a dwarf alive who remembers the Deep Roads as they once were. They were the network of tunnels that joined the Taigs together. To be honest, it isn't even right to give them such a simple term as tunnels. They are works of art, with centuries of planning demonstrated in the geometry of their walls, with the statues of the paragons that watch over travelers, with the flow of lava that keeps the Deep Roads lit and warm. The cloud gazers up on the surface talk of the Imperial Highway, built by the Magisters of old, a raised walkway that crossed thousands of miles, something that could only have been built by magic. Perhaps it is comparable to the Deep Roads, although we dwarves didn't need magic. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore. The Darkspawn rule the Deep Roads now. When Orzammar sealed off the entrances to the Deep Roads, abandoning everything that lay out there, we handed over the kingdom that was to those black bastards forever. To think that there are Genlocks crawling all over Baunamar now, tearing down our statues and defiling our greatest works. Corruption covers everything we built out there. Every dwarf who goes out and comes back says that it gets worse with each passing year. The foulness spread a little further. And the cloud gazers think the Darkspawn are gone just because they aren't spilling out onto the surface? Huh. One day, when Orzammar is gone for good, they'll find out differently. Those Darkspawn won't have anywhere else to go but up, and they'll do it. The surface folk will have themselves a blight that will never end. Transcript of a conversation with a member of the Dwarven mining caste, 890 Blessed. Heading through the open tunnel in the southwest, we run across our first enemy, a giant spider, easily dispatched by Gorham and Durin. Moving through the tunnels, we face various Darkspawn and traps until we come upon our first scout, Frandlin Ivo, who we fought the day before in the Proving.
You made it, Commander. Did you run afoul of any Darkspawn?
A few. They weren't organized.
Still, that was more than we expected. Once I finished scouting the tunnels, I hid here to avoid the Darkspawn. Most tunnels are dead ends. The one we want is swarming with those fiends. It's going to be a fight.
We are warriors. Nothing stands in our way.
As you say, onward then.
Heading into the southeastern tunnel Frandlin Ivo indicated, we face more enemies as the tunnels twist and turn through the deep roads. Eventually, the second scout reaches our party and addresses us.
You're here? I thought the Darkspawn had got you for sure.
Is that how you address your commander?
Apologies, Commander. There's not a ton of formality down here in the deep roads. We want the tunnel ahead, but there are Darkspawn tracks all over it. Be careful.
I thought these tunnels were mostly abandoned.
Well, abandoned isn't vacant, apparently. Still, 2 months ago we couldn't get within a mile of this place. I'll follow your lead, Commander.
The only way forward is west, and after many more bands of Darkspawn, we are stopped by one of the scouts, who spots freshly killed Darkspawn on the ground.
Looks like someone beat us to the door.
This Darkspawn body is still fresh. Whoever opened the door is most likely still in there.
They had to have an Idukan signet ring to get in.
It could have been stolen. Recently, or generations back.
Or it could be an ambitious cousin out for his own glory.
Whoever it is, the shield is mine.
Understood. Let's move, men.
The party finally reaches the Taig, only to see a group of dwarves we do not recognize and who should not be here.
So glad you could finally join us. We feared you'd gotten eaten by Darkspawn. Turns out the shield isn't quite as easy to retrieve as I was led to believe. I wager you know where it is, though. So maybe you tell me where it is, and I won't mutilate your body so bad your father doesn't recognize you.
Who are you? How did you get in here?
I'm your better, that's who. And as to how I got in, that's a question you'll have to ask the stone after I butcher you. Now where's the shield?
We could use our persuasion here to try and get some information from him, but Durin is a straightforward, stab-first kind of dwarf. You're an idiot, and now you're going to die.
Just kill them, boys. We'll find this shield on our own.
There are a lot of these mercenaries, and they have placed traps all over the area. Being somewhat careful and taking our time, they are easily eliminated. Looting the body of the mercenary captain, we find the Idukan signet ring he needed to get in here in the first place.
Is that an Idukan signet ring? I guess that's how they got in here.
It's Trian's.
The ring is Trian's. That means
Trian will pay for this. Mark my words.
The first way we can hurt him is to find that shield ourselves.
The shield of Idukan will be mine.
You have your orders, boys.
Heading into the Taig.
This is the room. How do we get the shield?
Look around. There must be a clue.
You two, see if you can spot anything.
The trick to opening the tomb is to get the other party members to stand on individual tiles. With a little maneuvering, it's no problem.
Right.
That's it. We've got it.
Doesn't look like much.
The skill of our crafters has come far since then. But still, the shield of Idukan.
The strength of Idukan is in this shield.
I can feel it. It's inspirational.
You say so. It's just a shield.
Enough talk. Where is the rendezvous point?
Back in the direction we came from, at the crossroads.
To the crossroads.
Triumphant in our task, it's time to meet up with the rest of the units. Heading out, we face more darkspawn. Backtracking a ways, we are stopped by Gorham.
If Trian were really scheming against us, this would be the perfect place for an ambush. We've got the shield, and we're all alone out here.
Keep your wits about you, then.
Of course.
What's that you're muttering about?
Keep your mind on the mission.
Right you are, Commander.
When we reach the crossroads, we find Trian and a group of warriors waiting for us.
Atrast Vala, brother.
You and I need to speak. Alone.
Anything you have to say can be said here in front of our men.
Where's your signet ring, Trian?
I didn't wear it today. I didn't wish to risk losing it in battle.
You gave it to the mercenaries so they could steal this shield.
You dare accuse me of your own treachery? You have plotted to murder me so you could take my place as heir. You convinced Balin to help take my men and me by surprise. Do you deny it?
There are some graphical glitches in this part that take away from the drama, but good for a laugh. You do have to admit it was a good plan.
Throwing your and our family's honor in the fire of jealousy and power was a good idea? I am your prince and your elder brother. Every tradition, everything that makes us who we are, demands your loyalty to me. You and your companions will throw down your weapons, confess your treason, and be tried in front of the assembly.
So arrogant, even at the end.
It will be your end, brother. May the stone reject your unworthy, treacherous body. Kill the traitors!
For all of Trian's blustering and arrogance, he is no match for us. Now, like I said before, this part of the story can go much differently if we didn't agree with Balin back at the palace, or if we surrendered to Trian. But either way, the outcome will be the same. Ending the life of our brother with considerable ease, we learned the true motivations of our younger brother, Balin.
This one won't.
Hurry, Father, before it's too...
By all the ancestors, what has happened here?
It seems we weren't fast enough. Balin was right.
My son, Tell me this isn't what it looks like.
Trian tried to kill me. It was terrible.
Can you prove it?
I have Trian's ring, taken from the men who tried to kill me.
You could have got that ring anywhere. Can these men substantiate your claim?
It's true. There were men in the Tig trying to steal the shield.
Sir Gorham, your loyalty makes you a useless witness. It falls to others to tell the story. You, Scout, what happened here?
Trian and his men were here early. It seems they'd done battle with the Darkspawn. Lord Iduken came up to them all friendly-like, but when we got close, he ordered us to attack.
You will let this man question my honor?
It is a valid question. The man is low-born and could easily be bought.
Frandlin Ivo, you are a good and noble man. Did the scout speak the truth?
He did, my lord. It was terrible. Prince Trian didn't stand a chance. Afterward, my lord stripped his signet ring.
You treacherous bastard! Silence, Gorham! Do you have anything else to say, my son?
How can you not see that this is a setup?
I want to believe that. I really do.
Bind him. He will be judged before the Assembly. To Orzammar.
This is the worst thing that could happen to us. How different today feels compared to the day of the feast, of the proving in our honor. It would have been better had a Darkspawn run us through. We hear Gorham's voice just out of view, and as he approaches our cell.
I would have come sooner had they allowed it. How are you?
My plans are in ruins. How do you think I am?
I understand. It's going to get worse, though. Balin has taken Trian's place in the Assembly. He introduced a motion to condemn you immediately, and it easily passed. He had fully half the Assembly ready to vote on something completely against tradition and justice. He must have been making deals and alliances for months, if not years.
You have to respect Balin's ability to play the game.
He's more clever than either of us ever thought. Some of the lords, especially Harrowmont, are suspicious of Balin's instant rise to power. They are rallying, but far too slowly. The Assembly has already sentenced both of us.
Tell me.
I am to be exiled to the surface, but you are to be sealed in the deep roads to fight Darkspawn until you are overwhelmed and killed.
It is a warrior's death, at least.
It doesn't have to be. Lord Harrowmont gave me access to see you so I could tell you this. Duncan and the Grey Wardens are still in the deep roads, in tunnels connected to those you are to be left in. If you survive long enough to find the Grey Wardens, you may be able to escape with Duncan.
I'm supposed to turn to humans for help?
The Grey Wardens aren't all humans. Remember the stories of the Dwarven Wardens who lifted the 100-day siege of Orzammar. If you can find them, I'm sure you can join them and escape the deep roads.
How do I find the Grey Wardens?
They're down there somewhere. It's just a matter of surviving long enough to track them. I begged to go with you and fight at your side, but Balin's pet nobles wouldn't hear of it.
I wish you were going to be at my side as well.
I'm going to try to go to Denerim, the human capital. If you make it out, find me.
Goodbye, Gorham.
I will always be your man, my Lord Iduken.
They are ready for you now. Here is the prisoner, Lord Harrowmont.
Having been found guilty of fratricide by the Assembly of Orzammar, you are hereby sentenced to exile and death. Your name is from this point forward stripped from the records. You are no longer a person, nor a memory. You are to be cast into the deep roads with only sword and shield. Dare to redeem your life by fighting the enemies of Orzammar until your death. Do you have anything to say before the sentence is carried out?
Balin will destroy you, just as he did me.
I understand your anger. You should have been allowed to defend yourself. Had I the power to stop this, I would have. Look me in the eye and tell me you didn't do this. For your father's sake.
Balin convinced me I had to do it.
Trian's blood is on Balin's hands as well as yours. I will do everything I can to make sure he does not profit by it. Soldier, hand the accused his sword and shield. Open the doors and let the condemned walk through. May the stone accept you when you fall.
Well, there's nothing else for it. Even if we could return, there is no memory of us anymore. There would never be another proving held in our honor, no feasts, no commissions, no chance of glory for Orzammar or House Iduken. There is nothing behind us, so we must go forward. With only a dagger and shield, we must fight our way through tunnels of spiders, darkspawn, and deep stalkers, stealing armor and weapons from corpses. We must find the Grey Wardens, if we can find them. Against all odds, we do, and we see Duncan and his men in the distance.
By the Maker, it's a dwarf!
Lord Iduken, what are you doing here alone? Where are your troops?
I am Lord Iduken no longer.
Ah. You have been made to walk the deep roads, then.
You mean you were exiled? What happened?
I do not think matters of dwarven honor are any business of ours. You need not answer, friend.
Thank you.
It is not the way of this order to pass judgments on the pasts of others. You have already proven yourself both resourceful and skilled, and I would expect nothing less from an Iduken. I've been searching for those with your level of ability. Your exploits in the Deep Road set you apart. As leader of the Grey Wardens in Ferelden, I would like to formally invite you to join our order.
I accept.
Then welcome. We leave immediately for Ostagar to join with the human forces facing the Darkspawn hordes led by King Kaelin. Stay close. There are still Darkspawn around every corner.
This was just one possible identity of the future hero of Ferelden, but heroes don't always come from noble bloodlines. In the next part, we'll explore an origin story from a much more humble beginning. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more content just like this every week on my channel. Thank you so very much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.